back and also have, there are different kinds of ideologies that people do get to share. So I think that would be a bit of a problem in there if there is not a way where people are getting to get informed and getting educated and getting aware of how the cultures are on the continent. I think that would be a bit of a culture crash. There would also be a problem with ideologies, but I think maybe perhaps with education and perhaps with people getting to understand each other better, maybe that would eventually work. You're saying, yes, I agree with you, Josh. You're saying the American Liberian settlers did not relate well to the indigenous people they encountered, especially those living in the more isolated interior. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I also see Sister Michelle, you're saying morning. Good morning to you too. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. So Liberia is a case, I would say, Liberia was not really a success. For people who were thought that maybe Liberia will become a place where people are resettled and everything goes smoothly, Liberia would not be considered as a success. But let me share with you the flag of Liberia so that you can see how the flag is, and you can see this is like a small US Liberia. Let me show you the flag of Liberia so you can also see how they actually almost are very, very similar. If you compare the US flag and the Liberia flag, you would think they are almost the same. But this is how it looks like. So these are the two flags. You can see from the top, these are the two flags. This is the flag of the US. Let me see if I will share this image. So this is the flag of the image on top. And of course, this is the flag of Liberia at the bottom here. And this is why you see them having a similar flag, because this was a place where they were resettled, and people came from different places and they were resettled there. I believe it was a period of about maybe 10 years. I'm really not sure, but it might have been about 10 years where people were given this opportunity to go back on the continent and be resettled there. I understand also other Caribbean islands are also the same, where we did have a place for the freed slaves to go and settle there. Let me also share this particular as we proceed with Liberia before we go into the matters of the day.
Liberia, the country of my birth, was founded by freed American slaves in 1822. There was this growing class of freed blacks and freed slaves here in America who had been freed by their owners under the proviso that they leave the United States and go back to Africa. Back to Africa movement is how Liberia came to be. My great 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 grandfather, Elijah Johnson, was on the first ship of freed slaves that traveled from New York Harbor in 1820. This country was set up in a very antebellum sort of way where the freed slaves and the freed blacks replicated a similar society to the one that they had fled from in the American South, except now that they were in Africa, they were the upper class, and the native Africans who they met there became the servants and the help. In 1980, this two-tiered system exploded when there was a military coup. They overthrew and killed the president, President Talbot. They raped so many women who were married to, who were of the elite class. Liberia descended into this very horrible civil war that lasted for almost 2 decades. And Liberia went through this horrific period that finally ended in 2003 when Charles Taylor was driven out of the country. 2005, Liberians went to the polls to vote for what many say were the first really open and free elections that the country had had. Liberians elected a woman president.
Of course, like I was saying, there are not many African countries that have had selected or voted in a woman president. And I would also like to think that even in Liberia, these are sort of orchestrated. They had her put there. She was at some point, the president, she was at some point uh, doing an interview. And she was saying that she had lived in Nairobi for a while. So part of her history, she has lived right here in Kenya. She got to operate a few I don't know if she ran a business, but she was in Kenya, Nairobi, for a while, and then of course I went back into her country because there was a period where things were very, very tough. Like you heard from 1980, things were really not good in Liberia. So many people fled the country. Most of the people are also killed in the same country, and I think at that particular point, That is when she had left the country and then went back later to her own country. And the story of the story of Liberia is very, very much similar to the story of Sierra Leone, because in Sierra Leone as well, they went into a civil war where many people were killed. And of course, after that, they have right now they're trying, and at the same time, the two both of the countries also have a long history of getting these diseases that are like we talk about them, the cholera. We also hear about what do you call these the Ebola as well, and other different viruses that we know have actually been made in the laboratory. And sometimes I would believe it's like it's a way of controlling the population in these countries, Sierra Leone and also Liberia. And most of the times you also hear DRC. The DRC can also get into experience these different diseases that I believe have, of course, they are orchestrated. They are actually planned so that they can also be introduced among the population, and of course, make sure that people are being reduced. Is your camera still not working? Yeah, I'm still using. The camera is not working. The camera is bad. It there is. I was taking the computer to be made, but they said the camera is bad on. The problem is with the camera, but of course, I was talking about how the people who are interacting, the Liberians and also the indigenous Liberians, and also the people that were resettled from New York and from all these different places. But also, there has been an issue of trying to restore the history of the country. Let me share a little bit of the same.
On Liberia's Providence Island, an African American is in search of her past. Laura Pritchard from Michigan is stepping in the ruins of the first home built by freed American slaves, brought to Africa some 200 years ago. It's on Providence Island that they founded the Republic of Liberia.
Providence Island feels like liberty. Providence Island feels like healing. Providence Island feels like joy and anticipation. And that Providence Island means it's a place where I can take the chains from my neck. I can shake the dust from my feet, and I can start new. That's what I feel.
In the country's oldest church, the young gather to celebrate Thanksgiving, a tradition brought by the free slaves, supported by the American Colonization Society. The founding settlers became the country's elite, and they kept many African natives in servitude, transforming their traditions, culture, and architecture. According to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, this helped fuel Liberia's civil wars. 250,000 people died during the 2-decade-long conflicts. We're in downtown Monrovia, from where, during the Civil War, snipers would shoot at people. And it's in this neighborhood that, yet again, a 100-year-old building is being torn down to make way for new apartment blocks. Now, for some, this is Liberia moving away from its past, looking towards the future. For others, preserving these old buildings is an essential act of remembrance of Liberia's troubled and divided past.
But this is magnificent, and they look so much alike.
A shack that the owner, Richard Tolbert, wants to tear down, but architect Joseph Jones sees history worth preserving.
You cannot forget about your past. We want the kids, the kids who are studying architecture, to understand how houses were built in Liberia before and why.
Almost all of the free slaves came from America's southern state of South Carolina.
The Southerners came here trying to emulate American culture. They brought American culture back to Liberia. Their intentions were not to be Africans.
Liberia's history does not start with the arrival of African Americans. Jones believes some of the street names should reference the nation's 17 indigenous groups, and efforts be made to preserve the diverse architectural history of the country. As an increasing number of African Americans make Liberia their home, Laura Pritchard believes there's so much to learn from the past in order to build a better future for all Liberians. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Providence Island, Liberia.
That was a little bit of Liberia. Like you did hear some other people who are coming from Carolina. Other people, I believe, came from New York. And when all these different people met in Liberia, there was a problem. I would say Liberia was not a success. Liberia really wasn't really a success. You have people coming and making the same houses. For example, like you would see the architecture from Carolina, others coming with the same design of the houses from New York, and therefore getting to reintegrate the people that came back, the Africans that came back, and now also helping them just get reintegrated was a really difficult process. That is why I always keep on saying that Liberia really wasn't a success. The same thing also happened with Sierra Leone. The UK were trying to have people resettled back in Sierra Leone, and we also did have a civil war in Sierra Leone. But the only problem is none of these particular videos get to talk about who was sponsoring or who was funding these civil wars, because like you would see, everyone out on the streets in Liberia had these machine guns, semi-automatic. I don't know if they call it the semi-automatic, but these are big guns. And we all know that Africa does not, unless apart from South Africa, Africa really does not get to manufacture guns. And I'm also really not convinced that South Africa would really also be able to produce guns in the big numbers, because I have heard they do, but I don't think they have a big factory for that. So you would also question yourself where these people are getting these guns to go, everyone shooting in the streets. Like you had, one of the houses was really being used by snipers. And now, of course, these snipers also need to have those high caliber kind of weapons. And therefore, the only thing that is not told in these stories is who was funding this war. And Keith, you saying, so you have to purchase another webcam? Yes, we do. And of course, you're also saying that's why you had a civil war, because these Africans coming back treated other Africans like shit. Yes, that is exactly what did happen. And at some point, it got too bad. And there was like a buffer. There was like a buffer class. Now they were put like a buffer class above all these other Africans. And where they had left, for example, the ones that came back from Carolina. What was happening is that when they came back on the continent, some of them wanted to, quote unquote, colonize other Africans. They wanted to have them as their slaves. You come from a slave situation, your mindset is not right. And therefore, when you come back on the continent, you have left a plantation in South Carolina, you're always being treated as shit. So when you come back, you build the architecture designs of Carolina, and then you want to put the same other Africans you meet as your slaves, because you would feel that you're much better, or you're much more urbanized. Not really urbanized, you're much more civilized. That is the name, quote unquote, civilized. And that is a problem that we have had with Liberia. That is why I always keep on saying Liberia was not really a success, even for the people that were organizing this American society that was organizing for the people to come back into the continent. There was not really a way where they would maybe perhaps not re-engineer, but maybe perhaps what they would do is really sort of make sure that the mindset or the psychology, not really psychology, but the mindset is really prepared, as when you come back on the continent, you do have the proper mindset when it comes to getting resettled on the continent. That is what I would believe would have been done. Even right now, like I'm saying, even today, if you were to have like the leaders on the continent, we not have the leaders on the continent, but if you to have maybe 3 states on the continent where people are told you're now much welcome. You, for example, if you want to come back from the Caribbean, want to come back from the US, want to come back from any other place, you can come back, but the problem would also persist. The same problem will persist if you do not have the proper mindset for that. British, you say now machine guns, but no shoes on the feet. Smells like a white supremacist. Exactly, I agree with you. Using the American colonization society, which believe black people would face better chances of freedom and prosperity in Africa, the United States. Yes, but then again, like I said, the problem was the mindset. Hi, Keith, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm good, Spikes. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sister Michelle is saying a shame on them. That is a problem. People really just coming back and are really thinking they would, of course, continue to enslave other Africans because it came from a plantation. So you want to
They're about the same. They're about the same. Same subjugation culture that they were under, back to their own people, and you wonder why. After so many years, you have a civil war because you treated other Africans like shit. Come back to the continent with a white supremacist mindset. You subjugate other African people the same way you've been subjugated. You haven't even learned from it. So that's what I'm talking about, the moronic of African people. You're gonna come back and instill your barbarism on other African people, and you don't see nothing wrong with it. You're gonna come back at that time. most of that part of Africa was still not Jesus, right? So you forced Jesus on the other Africans right there who didn't believe in the Jesus shit. You brought the shit that the white man forced on you. You force it on them, and then treat them like shit, and you expect that country to thrive. Eventually, it was going to be a boiling point. Absolutely insane.
It got to a point where the people couldn't take it anymore, and I was saying it was the reintegration process was a failure. You cannot really. There wasn't an orientation. I believe there should be an orientation, a psychological orientation, because you remember the other Ghanaian we were talking about the other day. He went to Ghana. Not he's not a Ghanaian, but he was an African American. I went back into Ghana and he was saying, his money goes further. He's doing, now he's being treated as
Money's gone farther. I'm treated better. I'm like in the high society. Yeah. But sadly enough, even though the African has done that too all over Africa. You go to Nigeria, you got an upper class. Going to Kenya, you got an upper. The African has done that shit still, even without the African American coming back. You find that in Kenya. You find that in Tanzania. You find that in South Africa. That these puppets, these political puppets, have made a bourgeoisie African from Nigeria to Kenya, a bourgeoisie political upper class that they've now created. And eventually, like I said, that's going to cause civil war within Africa eventually, finally. It's going to be complete wiping out of these puppets and bourgeoisie.
There was the time when there was what can I call it? A protest, not really a protest. There was a protest. It was a protest in Nigeria, which was the NSAS movement. And these people, they decided to go into the upper class neighborhood. It is known as Aleki. So what did happen is that now because these are the elite, the few elite in Lekki, they decided to attack. They decided to go into these places and steal some, get some stuff from them, because they believe, everyone should also be getting to enjoy the resources that Nigeria has, the oil. So you do have a few individuals who get to get all the benefits from the oil sales and from other resources Nigeria has. So he said they also break into this neighborhood, which is known as Lekki, because they do feel that this political elite, this elite class, they should also, they should not be living like this. They should not be treating other Africans like this. So I also get the perspective. I get the point that you are sharing, that even without the African American coming back on the continent, we also have had our own.
We have a tier system, created by the colonization of Africans, where they put a now political class that are separate and apart from the people and think they're better than the people and treat the people like shit. That's why you had the bus in Kenya going into the dam off the bridge, because no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit about building correct infrastructure. No one gives a shit. You got a bourgeoisie class in Africa now who don't care about it's African people. It's African bourgeoisie.
That is exactly what has been happening with our people, because we have taken that from the Westernization. We came from Ubuntu, where people were really focused on getting to treat each other with.
Ubuntu. Ain't no Ubuntu in Africa no more. Every man for himself and fuck everybody else. Ain't no Ubuntu. African is too corrupt to practice any Ubuntu. He's corrupt. He's wicked. He's corrupt. The poverty. African is corrupt and a thief. Most Africans are corrupt and thieves, sadly enough, because of the political situation, colonization, and slavery. Wicked, and he's corrupt. So
we came from a system where we would say you are because you are, I am because you are because I am, to a system where you do say I'm doing it for myself.
Came from that. You came from that. That ain't what the hell you are now.
So where the African is at right now is at a deplorable situation where everyone is thinking about themselves, and also just focused on making sure that they overdo everyone else and get to enrich themselves to their own benefit. But nonetheless, family, I want to talk about what is happening with the Gambia, because in the Gambia, the elections that some people have actually been protesting because they believe Adama Barrow, who was an incumbent, who actually also did win these elections.
Like you had the young lady, Aisha Danford, wherever you're at in the Gambia, we appreciate you coming through yesterday. Aisha, I'm sure you're correct, but Aisha Danford That's a
Is she
Gambian
related?
name because Mumpy Damper, but Aisha Damper.
I
I'm
was
sure you're
wondering.
correct. I'm sure you're correct. I'm sure you're correct about the election being stolen. And you said you got it right. It's stolen by the British. I'm sure you're correct. I'm not in Gambia. I'm sure you're right. I'm glad you know about it. Go ahead, Spikes.
No, I was asking whether maybe they might be related. I have not seen the brother bump it down for a minute, so I heard
Well,
about Aisha.
it could be. That's a common name in Gambia. So it could be what they call a distant relative. She could be like a
Relative, yeah.
fourth or fifth cousin or something like that. So
It
it's
might be.
possible. It's possible, of course. Same last name. She's from Gambia. He's from Gambia, even though he lives in Ethiopia now. So, but
Yeah,
like she said, she know the election was rigged by by the British, and he's nothing more than a puppet. And it's funny. She said exactly what I told you they do. He used tribalism because you Africans are morons. You practice tribal games, so he just uses the same tactics the Europeans did. That's why they never collapsed any of these tribes. You're the only people on the planet that still practice tribalism. Ain't that funny? The only people that do it. So Aisha Danforth said it right. Said he used a lot of tribalism. He put tribe. That's what they do, Aisha. That's what they do. From Kenya to South Africa to Angola to wherever you at. Only Africa has 1 million goddamn goofy tribes, and they're the same people. Go ahead.
You were telling Katie yesterday that if you walk up to any Chinese and ask them what tribe they are from, they will look at you crazy, wondering are you insane? You walk up to any European, ask them what tribe are you? What tribe are you from, or what tribe are you? They will look at you crazy, thinking you must
They'll
be
look
nuts.
at you crazy and say, "Get out my face, you ignorant ass African."
So what is happening is that the Gambia, the police have been dispersing protesters who have been contesting the presidential re-election. And of course, I was saying that there are many things that have been going on in this country. It's about over 65% of the population is the youth. And therefore, they would perhaps have thought that Adama Barrow, having been in power, even, having been the incumbent president before this election, he would have been able to do a few more things, a few things for them, just to sort of, spur employment. But we were saying yesterday the problem is we do not
He
have
ain't
a
did
real
nothing but start giving the country away to the Chinese and the Libyans and all the other foreigners because he's a puppet. That's why he's there, to make sure the country's resources go to foreigners and not African people. That's why he's there, and that's why he's kept in power. And the youth know it, and the youth know they didn't vote for his ass.
So they know that they have been cheated with this election, and I was saying that is what happens at most elections, a la sham, and that is what has been happening with this one. So the Gambian police did fire tear gas on Monday, yesterday, to disperse supporters of the losing presidential candidate Oisanu Dabo, as they took the streets out to the capital of Banjul to contest the re-election. I have not heard from the Black Acres of the Gambia for a minute. I would like to also hear their.
I haven't seen any content in a long time, so I don't know. You're right. I don't know. I haven't seen them in a year. Was it a year last time we talked to him?
I used to get notifications from their channel because I subscribed, but I do no longer get the notifications from their channel to see what's going on with them. If the change of power also gets to affect
I was never subscribed, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
I have not seen their content for a minute. But hundreds of protesters did gather in the community of Serekunda, which is 12 kilometers from Banjul, the capital city, the day after Dabo and two other candidates said they would not accept Barrow's resounding win in Saturday's peaceful voting. So the police intervened with the tear gas when the crowd started scuffling with supporters of Barrow, according to Reuters reporter at the scene. And of course, later the police also broke up another protest of Dabo supporters near his house in Serekunda using tear gas. So it's a whole lot of shenanigans are going on with that, but they know the process was rigged and it was done in front of their eyes, and that is why the puppet, of course, has to be instilled there. Like you had the British, I believe, have a hand in this. They would like to have a puppet there that they can get to move. They can get to access. In the Gambia, one of the things that we get to talk about the Gambia is sex tourism. There is a whole lot of sex tourism that goes on with the Gambia. It's a place with a beautiful beaches. So they allow them the access to the children in this country. So they would also like someone who will not say a thing. They will not.
They got access to children all over Africa because of impoverishment. Of course. Everywhere you go, from Kenya, Tanzania, Angola, Namibia, everywhere you got coastal lines in Africa, you got the wicked ass European coming in for sex tourism.
And in the Gambia, it's even much worse because we did have the president also not even saying anything, or not saying anything.
Not gonna say nothing about it because he's a puppet. He's allowing the criminality to go on. He allows it. He's a tourist. They bring in tourism dollars. You crazy? These people are damn being predatory on your people. Are you insane?
There's nothing like dollars, tourism dollars. Let me show you why you would find that the Gambia is notorious for this.
Of sex workers, both legal and illegal, scattered around the globe, including Africa. Now, the Gambia is one of the top destinations for sex tourism in Africa. With youth unemployment at 45%, some young Gambians are turning to prostitution. But the big issue is, how high is the price for a better life?
The Gambia, a small country in West Africa and a hot location for sex tourism. We head to the coastal city of Serekunda. Senegambia Road is the go-to spot for parties and prostitutes. The 77% host, Edith Kamani, is meeting Brit Deborah Ives.
Hi there.
This is actually a Kenyan journalist. Her name is
Kenyan reporter. Yeah, Kenyan reporter.
Yeah, she is actually very good at what she does. And let me just play.
How are you doing? Good. You must be Deborah. Yes, I am.
She has owned the Britannia, a bar on the Strip, for 5 years.
You can see them Zungus get to operate our businesses here. And
like that funny kid, Mzungu. She's operating her business in the Gambia for 5 years because she's an Mzungu. That's why. That's why she's there. She's an Mzungu. Of course.
She's the one who gets to operate the flights for Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's pedo circle.
In the Gambia, there are a lot of people who are engaging in sex tourism. Is this something that you've seen, you're familiar with, you're aware of, you've heard of?
I know it's going on, but I haven't actually seen it with my own eyes. I hear stories.
Does blow your butt. It does blow your butt. Blow your butt. Big Cheese isn't. And listen, when you get to Africa, Big Cheese, you're gonna see the cracker owns everything. Still, they have not got back the businesses, the major businesses in Africa owned by the cracker. But she even with her little small bar, it annoyed. I told you that shit used to drive me insane. And I'd be in Tanzania or South Africa. Oh man, my blood would boil so damn bad. These Africans are working for these Mzungus in Africa. In Africa. I would get that's why I'm yelling now. The anger that goes through my body is undescribable. Go ahead.
You see them operating at these businesses and they know what they're doing.
But yeah, I believe it's going on.
Do you think these young men and women understand what they're putting themselves into, the risks that are involved in such a business?
I've no idea. I mean, I've never stopped to speak to anybody, call it what you like, a victim or whatever.
Yeah, no idea. Those are people, the ones that coming down there. Ain't nobody black doing the damn sexual terrorism. It's her people doing the shit. I don't know what's going on. I know what's going on with these crackers coming down having sex with all these young African kids. I got no idea.
She says she has never stopped any of them to ask them what business they are doing. So.
New jeans. They want the earrings. They want a new boot. They want, the lipsticks. But they also need to provide for their family.
Deborah knows prostitution is going on, but she chooses to look the other way. Tourists bring in money after all. But is it really as simple as this? Sell your body to a stranger and afterwards hit the shops for a new pair of jeans?
Remember all them AIDS came from? AIDS come from the crackers.
Locals and
that's
older
where AIDS came from, black people. Them injecting you with shit and the European, and you sleeping with that beast.
You see them Zungu. You would think this is in London, but you see them Zungu there in Serekunda. It's known as Serekunda in the Gambia. You will see lots of them there, especially crazy. But you see, the president does nothing. The government will do nothing to address these issues. So they
Exactly
would now.
right, Big Cheese. They're expert at playing dumb. That's what they do. I don't know nothing. I don't. Lady, these are your people. You talk to them all the time. It's all lies. These are your people coming in. You'll find the same cracker in Kenya, same cracker in Nigeria, same cracker in goddamn Ghana, same cracker in Gambia, same cracker in Tanzania, same cracker in Mozambique. Sex tourism. That's you people. That's you. That's your culture. Sleeping with children.
That is what they do. But I was just saying that the government there it really does not want to address the matter. They would just say like you were saying now, they're bringing the dollars, the tourism.
That's why he's there, Spikes, to make sure there's no stopping of them being able to sleep with African children. That's why he's there. That's why he's there. That's why Kenyatta is there. They don't stop it in Kenya either. You go to Coast of Mombasa, it's fucking crazy. That's why these puppets are there, to make sure none of that stops either.
And I do see Big Cheese saying, Keith, you remember when Anili Fuller said that white supremacy is expert at playing them? Yeah. And if you do not understand the system of white supremacy, everything else you see around you will confuse you. It will just get you more confused. According to Anili Fuller, he said that anything else you see around, if you do not understand our white supremacy system, then you'll be just a victim. You'll just be there thinking things are supposed to work like this or things are working like that. You will not look it for more. Yeah, everything else will confuse you. But he has actually taken over the reins of power again. I do believe he shall be sworn in again. Do they even swear him again? I do not sure, but they will be swearing him again. But the former president was known as Yahya Jammeh in the Gambia, one of the most insane people that have been called a president or a leader. He put people on an AIDS curing program, and he made the cure himself. So he said he has made a cure for AIDS, and he put people on a compulsory, on a mandatory program where you will take in and you're put on that program. And then you have to say that you have been cured. You know, that was, I think, part of the agreement. And
yeah, you get moron after moron in African countries. Get that moron. They let the moron come back after being in power and deposed his ass 20 years of bad leadership, bad rule. And so that moron's back in the country, probably starting more trouble. His genius is back.
So the country is facing a lot of problems right now, in as much as it might be political.
That's all African countries. What African country is not facing a lot of problems?
No, I'm just saying that
African countries face a lot of problems. Which one's not, Spike? Tell me, which one's not?
We do have Rwanda is trying. Rwanda is trying. Rwanda, I would say Rwanda is trying. So I'm not saying.
Rwanda's got a strong dictator in there, but
so
Rwanda's not facing problem. Rwanda's not facing problem because you can't say number one. You get your head chopped off over there. Shit, fucking around with Kagame. Kagame likes. I will give Kagame. Kagame's a good dictator. If you're gonna be a dictator, at least do it right. Please do it right.
You have seen what good a dictator can do to a country. You remember the Chinese who were under a dictator, but they have come up all the way now. I would say there are pros and cons of having a dictator. The dictator has made sure that everyone falls in line in China, and that was Mao.
Well, if you got a good dictator that cares about the people, things get done. Hey, I say Kagame's a good dictator because you won't find no sex tourism in no fucking Rwanda, Jack. I tell you that. You won't find no sex tourism in no Rwanda at all.
Also, and also Mao also did get to do something from he did get to do something for China. So I would say, if that is if they need a strong hand or a strong an iron hand on the continent to make sure everyone falls in line and wakes up, I would still go.
I just said that. I said Africa needs to have one dictator over all of Africa, where everything is forced. I said that. I said I'd like to be dictator of Africa for 20 years. All the tribal shit is gone. You practice tribalism, I'm gonna kill you. That's gonna be told to you. I'm gonna tell you when you do it, then you're gonna be, and I'm gonna make an example out of you. Right? I think should have happened. That's what happened in China. That they need to be forced. Because China used to have tribes. China was a bunch of tribes. So they came in, the guy said, "No, you're gonna be Chinese." Everybody wasn't Chinese.
So
that was one province. The reason it became Chinese because one province called Q, or Qi, which is called China, Qi started taking over the rest of that area, which is called China, and forced these other Asians to be called Chinese. These other clans or tribes.
So I would say Mao got the work done.
Huh?
I'm saying Mao got the work done. Yes, Mao got the
that
work.
was way before Mao, Spikes. Way before Mao. Mao had nothing to do with that shit. Mao back with that. No, that had nothing to do with Mao.
He didn't bring the people to get to work in China as the head of the party.
No, China was already he actually fucked China up. China was already a cohesive empire before he got there. He was no more than a Rothschild puppet. I'm talking about way back in 2,000 years ago when China became one homogenous country called China. There was no China. You had all these warring states and warring tribes in that area you called China. It's called.
Was it?
I guess you call it. Go back. Pull this up, Spice. Go to images of the Chinese. Images of the divided kingdoms in China. Because remember, the Art of War, Art of War guy was not Chinese because there was no China in his time. He's part of one of those warring tribes. Who's the guy who wrote the Art of War? I'm having a brain fart.
These are the kingdoms. These are the
kingdoms. You got all the kingdoms. Yeah, but that's you got the 9 warring kingdoms, not 9 or 10. It wasn't. And see, China wasn't as big then. Then they started getting small. That's 3. Then 2. And they started becoming 1. Man, what's the damn writer of the damn Art of War? I forgot his name. Shit, I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, he never lived in China. There was no China where he lived.
This was just another Japanese colony. Just another place around by the Japanese. I do see its way. There's one. The Shu and the Wu.
Yeah, Shu, Wu. Yeah, there was 9 of them. You gotta go further back in time. You got like 9. I think this guy named wrote the Art of War. I think he's from Shu. See, there was no China. China didn't exist when he was writing the Art of War. He was right. Was no China, was no Chinese.
Are you talking about the sons who made the quote about the?
Say what kingdom was Sun Tzu from? Sun Tzu, what kingdom was he from? What kingdom was Sun Tzu from? I want to say it was Zhao.
Kingdom
was it Sun Tzu from? I want to say it was the kingdom of Zhao.
Let me see. Sun Tzu. I was born as Sun Wu, the Grandmaster, traditional Wu. Sorry, a Grandmaster, traditional Qi or Wu or Zhou Kingdom.
Was from Zhou Kingdom?
Let me confirm. Let me just get it. See what dynasty was the Sun Tzu from?
I thought it was Zhao.
Yeah, Zhao. It was Zhao dynasty. It was dynasties then. It was Zhao dynasty.
Yeah. So those are individual kingdoms. There was no China. There was nobody called Chinese. Was no Chinese. These are individual tribes and kingdoms. Was no China yet.
When did they come together? When did they get to connect? Like you would have like the states over the years.
They came together under Qi in 2,200 years ago. He started warring on all the kingdoms. Said, "Fuck it! All you people are gonna come under my rule, and you're gonna be Chinese. All of you. We're gonna have unity. Fuck all these different kingdoms." So he started conquering all these kingdoms. Say, when did the emperor of China? Who was the first emperor of China? That's his name. His name was Qi or some shit. Qi.
From what I see, China was founded in 1st October 1949. That is when it became a country in 1st October.
That's the communist country. Spikes.
Yeah.
China was a king. That's the communists took over finally by the Rothschilds. Not that.
So you're saying
your history is terrible. No, Spikes. The original beginning of China starts in 2,000. 2000 2000. I want to say it was 200 BC. So say when did the
First emperor. Oh,
the first emperor of China? Yeah, who was the first emperor of China? When was say what year was the first emperor of China? It was 200 BC, I think. 200 BC.
let me see. Emperor.
I'm talking about 2,200 years ago. We're talking about 1947 or 40. What the hell you said? Oh,
It was Shi Huang, China's
exactly.
first emperor.
Exactly. About
Shi
it came
Huang was
China. Shin came China. China.
it was 2,277 years ago.
What was it?
2,277.
So it was
2,200.
277 BC. So I was right. So it
20,
was 200 BC. So it was like I was right. It was around 200 BC. I was right. So it was 2,200 something years ago. Exactly. That's when China becomes a country, Spikes. Not no damn 1948. So 2,000 over 2,000 years ago, he was fighting to get rid of the damn tribes. So these tribes have got to go. You'll fall under my rule. If you don't, y'all murder you all.
He was the first. He became China's first emperor when he was 38 years after King Qin had conquered all other warring states and unified all of China in 221 BC. It was in 221 BC, and he was Shi Huang. But I was saying Africa should also get to learn a thing or two from this, because we would need to get to a place where people. We lack proper leadership on the continent. I always keep on saying that our leadership is a thing that is proper leadership is a thing that is lacking on the continent, and are people who are doing it for not for the European and not for the
like Jimmy Ectic said, the African is damn stupid. We're damn stupid. We're damn stupid. Like I said, the African is damn stupid. I love when he says that. African is damn stupid.
The problem is with the leadership. If you ask me, I think the problem is with the leadership. If we did have proper leadership and a strong eye on hand that would have people fall in line, then maybe perhaps.
Well, you be forced. That's what Africa needs. Africa needs a good dictator for at least 30 years to say all the tribes have got to go. You practice tribalism, I'm hanging you, like she did when because of course the people didn't accept that they were Chinese. Spikes. He had to kill their ass. A lot of hanging, a lot of killing, because they still wanted to be their individual tribe, the individual kingdom, and he'd hang their ass. He'd hang you. No, you're Chinese now.
Muammar Gaddafi tried that with his country and it was working for him. And then you know what happened to him. Muammar Gaddafi decided to run his country. I don't know for how long. I think he probably did over that years as a leader of his own country. But he did right by them, only for them to throw him under the bus and no one really also got to see the good he had done. But yes, I think Muammar Gaddafi was trying. He tried to unite the Arab League. It failed, so he came back and formed the African Union. The African Union did not do much, and he was trying to have things done, but I don't think he was also able to put everyone.
Well, he wanted Africans to be under Arab rule, and that's a no-no. But he did care about his people. That's why his people live nice in Libya. He actually took the money, and it benefited the people. Shit, there's no one to tell you different. Anybody been to Libya when he was in rule of it? Libya was nice. Wasn't nobody starving. Wasn't nobody in poverty. Libya had modern hospital, modern roads. The country was well ran. He was a dictator, but he was a good dictator again. He's another dictator that ran the country well. The country, whenever you came of age, everybody got a free house. Everybody got a free house. Not no bullshit. But no slums in there. Now you got slums. But no slums that you find in Kenya and Lagos and no fucking Libya. But no slums nowhere in the country. Because that money went to the people. That gas money went to the people.
And also
highly advanced.
The university was also paid for. Anyone could do their learning.
And university was free. All education was free, Spike. It all depends how smart you were and how far you want to go. It depended on you. If you wanted a PhD, you could go get a PhD. everything you wanted, you could get. It depends on how smart you wanted, how much you wanted to achieve.
I know that Libya was messed up to the the only part that I would not really. What I did see is that Gaddafi had there were women bodyguards for Gaddafi. I don't know why he decided to have all women bodyguards for his team. And also when he was getting killed, I'm not sure whether they probably also got to betray him. I don't know how
But
that
I
went.
can trust them women. The women they probably can trust. You understand? They probably can trust the women more than the men. Men always have egos, don't do right. Men always fuck up. Men always are corrupt. Most men always want to most men always want to be corrupt and do shit fucked up. When you get around men, men always have a problem with their egos and doing shit right. And he probably knew that.
The only thing I do not know is where were his security details when shit went down. But nonetheless, family, thank you so much. We are getting to wind up.
Stop nobody bombing, coming in with aircraft spikes and bombing. He get killed by. He got killed by bombs from the sky. They blew his damn compound up. I don't know no woman can hold up a bomb, Spikes. I don't know. Stop no bomb coming from no damn F-16 Spikes. I don't know. No woman can stop an F-16 bomb, Spikes.
They should have done a Michael on him. They should have had him with a laser like Michael at 1 a.m. in the morning, like they did with Michael, like Big Gregory. Big Gregory. It was a laser.
So you know, men get petty. That's why a lot of the Dahomey tribe, a lot of African men when they were still smart had women as elite guards. Because women are more loyal than men.
No, Derek says Wonder Woman would do that. Wonder Woman would actually stop that.
Wonder Woman is a thing from Africa, Spike. They took the woman comic book. She's supposed to be part of the homie. There was no white woman. That's an African tribe they took that from.
I see.
Exactly. Tosh, they ran Gaddafi had those musty guards ran off the rain down on him. Exactly. They rained goddamn missiles down his ass. Them musty women couldn't do nothing with that.
But anyhow, family, well, you know, a big thing to say now. Why
you practice tribalism with Joby's birthday chicken dinner? What do you do? How do you practice tribalism with the chicken dinner? Big Cheese?
It's always tribalism. Tribalism comes first here, Big Cheese. But nonetheless, we are winding up, family. I want to thank everyone on the show. It's a delight. Thank you to everyone that has been supporting the show. If you like to support the Blackwood Finance Talk, you can use Cash App. It's Mr. Blackwood Fan, or you can also use the Blackwood Finance Talk website. And of course, you can also support the broadcast, the network by sharing the links with your friends, your colleagues, your family, and even for Aisha Damfa. I hope that she will also be joining us at some other time. Just letting her know that the Gambia people do know what time it is in the Gambia. But I'm not really sure anything will change. But for now, we won't sign out. This is the Blackwood Finance Talk for Correspondence.